Imagine a bustling Antarctic breeding ground, a sea of life where penguins are packed shoulder to shoulder, relying on the collective warmth and security of the flock. But occasionally, one bird stops. It turns away from the ocean, the colony's lifeblood, and sets its sights on these jagged peaks. Past those mountains lie 5,000 kilometers of frozen void, where survival is physically impossible. This specific moment was filmed by Werner Herzog for his 2007 documentary, Encounters at the End of the World. Watching the bird's solitary trek away from the water, Herzog described the journey as a death march. In an environment where every biological instinct is tuned for survival, this footage presents a jarring paradox, an animal seemingly choosing the void over the flock. Nearly 20 years after it was filmed, this short sequence erupted across global social networks, racking up billions of views to become one of the defining viral trends of 2026. Internet users quickly branded the bird the Nihilist penguin. Comment sections filled with millions of people who saw their own exhaustion in the bird's walk, projecting a human desire to escape the digital grind onto its solitary march. This massive reaction raises a difficult question. Are we watching a wild animal perform a profound philosophical act, or are we witnessing a collective human projection? To understand why this icy walk resonated deeply, we have to look at the human instinct to find meaning in the indifference of nature. The nihilist label comes from a specific school of thought, the philosophical position that life lacks inherent purpose or intrinsic value. The term dates back to the late 18th century, when German philosopher Friedrich Heinrich Jacobi first brought it into prominent debate. By the 19th century, Russian author Ivan Turgenev popularized the concept, weaving it into cultural consciousness as a response to social upheaval. In 2026, social media users took centuries of complex human existential dread and applied it to a single bird. It created a romantic narrative for a cold Antarctic reality. While nihilism provides a compelling framework for a viral video, applying human philosophy to wildlife requires us to ignore the objective biological facts. Penguins are biologically dependent on their colony. They rely on the group for thermal survival and on the open ocean for every calorie they consume. This diagram shows normal navigation. In featureless landscapes, penguins rely on ingrained signals to move toward water. However, one vector occasionally breaks inland. Scientists identify this anomaly as the result of severe disorientation, physical trauma, or a brain infection shattering their neurological system. The penguin is undergoing a fatal biological system failure, its internal map destroyed by the physical reality of disease or injury. If the science confirms the bird is simply sick, the question remains, why does the internet so fiercely defend the image of the philosophical rebel? We are seeing the effects of anthropomorphism, the hardwired cognitive bias that causes humans to project our own emotions and motives onto non-human things. This is an ancient habit. As early as the 5th century BC, the Greek philosopher Xenophanes noted our tendency to humanize the natural world to make it more familiar. This bias serves a clear function. Our brains automatically construct these narratives because humanizing indifferent, chaotic natural events makes them much easier to process emotionally. The nihilist penguin is a perfect example of this cognitive engine in action. We use a human story to replace a factual biological tragedy that feels too random to accept. In the context of global social media, the documentary clip functions as a massive collective Rorschach test. The widespread empathy for the penguin suggests a deep underlying societal exhaustion. Millions of people found a way to articulate their own desire to escape the noise of modern life by identifying with a creature they perceived as a fellow wanderer. The viral phenomenon highlights a shared human impulse to find recognition in the natural world. Millions projected their own fatigue onto a sick animal, using its solitary march to visualize their silent desire for escape.